So let's talk about transportation. Senator Ralph, let's start with you, and we'll go around the table.
Well, first of all, I don't sit on the Transportation Committee, so the inner workings.
You're allowed to have
of
an
that,
opinion on it anyway, so go ahead.
And I think that what we've done is we have created a bill that, without raising taxes, captures some money that appropriately should be captured to provide a stable, ongoing funding source for roads and bridges, and I think that's a wonderful thing. And I think that the idea of capturing the taxes on the auto parts and the rental cars and the lease vehicles is an excellent method without having to raise taxes. I'll be very frank. We put a 10-cent a gallon gas tax on the Senate floor, and 10 people voted for it. So I don't think there's a real appetite for tax increases to fund transportation. So from that standpoint, I think that we're trying to take a very careful approach that says we recognize we have to bring our infrastructure needs work, and we're really playing catch up here. So the way that the transportation bill is designed is to front load that catch up on the infrastructure. Just in that alone, over the next 10 years, $3.3 billion towards just infrastructure repair. So I think that's a sign of the way we're going. Back to the bonding for just a moment, I think it's very important that we get a bonding bill. I think it's very important that, as you say, we make sure that the technical aspects of the bill are correct. In terms, though, of the priorities, I agree, we have a budget to do. And frankly, with the differences between the governor's proposals, the House proposals, and the Senate proposals, we've got a lot of work to do. And I'm looking forward to it. I think that it's going to be a very good process. The conference committees are all meeting, and I understand we want to get into that process. And this will be a little bit like, I'm not sure how you would analogize, but there's a lot of freshmen on those committees, and that's a good thing. So we're just learning the process. But the point I guess I'm trying to make is that the transportation bill as we have it now in the Senate is a solid bill. It basically takes very good care of our money. And yes, there's borrowing, but as was stated, every business recognizes that there's two aspects to a business. There's the income aspect, there's the ongoing operating expenses, there's the things that produce the product. But if you don't have the infrastructure underneath it that you may have to spend money on in a capital sense, that you have to borrow. And with the interest rates where they are today, we're never going to see interest rates like this in the rest of our lifetimes. It is almost fiscally irresponsible not to take advantage of that by going ahead and taking.
I've been saying that for the last few years relative to bonding, by the way.
Yes, I saw that coming. I saw that coming.
You opened it up for her.
And there's nothing wrong with that if we agree on it. And even if we don't, I think it's. Yeah. But I think that it's important that we look at that and that if we have borrowing in the transportation bill, if we're going to do it, this is a good time to do it.
Senator Friends, transportation.
Well, first of all, Senator, I'm glad to hear that this is a good time for borrowing. I know we'll come back and enjoy that discussion when we talk about bonding. I think all I would say to my friends on the other side of the aisle is I'm glad to hear you're interested in bonding and that you want to get the budget done first. I know Minnesotans would be glad to see a little more progress than none on putting forth a bonding bill in the House. As far as transportation, as I said, I'm proud to serve on the Transportation Committee. I voted against our Senate Omnibus Transportation Bill for some basic reasons. First of all, folks of Minnesota, the Transportation Bill shaves $400 million out of your general fund. So in Mankato, just like the rest of Minnesota, don't just ask what it costs, ask what it pays. That $400 million is showing up in things like health and human services and education. So if you want cuts in those areas, you'll like what's in the Senate Transportation Bill. I'm not against borrowing, but I would just say this. What people in Minnesota tell us, pork producers, soybean growers, corn growers, cities and counties, is we want a stable, long-term, dedicated transportation fund. And we've had some fun times on the Senate floor talking about the gas tax. As I said to Senator Newman, who chairs the Transportation Committee, we have a stack of letters from people asking us to use a gas tax because they prefer it to these cuts out of the general fund. And so in my district, that includes rural Nicollet County, pork producers, soybean growers, corn growers have all supported a gas tax. That's about all I have in rural Nicollet County. So I think that's a smarter way to go. I'd also say we have some questions to be asked about the transit issue. And Metropolitan Transit is part of the metro area, which drives the state's economy. And the way the transportation bill is set up shortcuts transportation to the point where the Senate bill, I think, is a fair argument, would cut busing service to an extent not seen before at a time when the population's growing and we want those buses to take people to their jobs. That's good for our economy. At the end of the day, I look forward to talking a little bit more about the total. One of the things I would point out is that the Senate bill includes $400 million of federal funds, which was already secured. So to say $3.6 billion is a little bit misleading, as it is to use the efficiencies. Having said all of that, I think the pressure from the people of Minnesota to get a transportation deal done will eventually get us there, and it may not be easy. We may not agree. I'm always interested in Highway 14, which is critical to the people in our district and across southern Minnesota, and I know there's a lot of important highways across the state, too.
All I'll say about Highway 14 is that I can recall reading about the need to improve Highway 14 when I was a student at Franklin Junior High School, and that was a very long time ago.
Great school.
That's right.
And I'll just briefly mention transportation before we get into the questions. Is that okay?
Well, let me go to Representative Hausman,
Okay.
and then I'm coming to you.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
Representative Hausman.
Well, right now, the following revenue streams flow to transportation: gas tax, license tax, motor vehicle sales tax, federal money, property taxes, wheelage taxes, and the county sales tax. 7 streams of funding. And rather than adjust them, the transportation advocates are saying, no, we're going to now go after 2 other things. We're going to go after cash in the general fund, and that fights with education and nursing homes and everything else. And we're going to make more use of general obligation bonding, which is the only tool that higher education and all the state agencies have. So the 2 new sources they're going after put them at odds with other parts of the budget that don't have many other tools. And that's been, I think, my frustration. The old guard transportation guys would have said, with transportation, we always pay as we go. I mean, those were their revenue streams. We're sort of turning the corner and saying we're not going to go that way anymore.
You know, when I was younger, my parents taught me use the resources you have and prioritize. Minnesotans want transportation prioritized. I've been talking to folks, and what it makes sense is we have resources we're getting from sales that deals with lease vehicles, tires, parts. It makes sense. People, why don't we use that for roads and bridges? So I've been talking to folks just like you have, Senator, and they say that makes sense. The farmers. I'm one of the few representatives and senators that have 2 states, and we have to compete with North Dakota and South Dakota. So we got to make sense with our transportation, and that's why us House Republicans are investing $6 million in 10 years, and also we are also investing in communities outside of you, the rest of us. We have communities in our district, 5,000 or less, and we're investing money into those small cities because we need that in our small cities. So, again, the folks are saying that back home, this makes sense using the sales tax dollars towards roads and bridges, and that's what I've been hearing.